So
You want me to do it now or wait the pre-approved few minutes?
I
You can do it
does
now.
anyone have anything they need to get desperately that they haven't done yet?
He was
I
grabbing a drink, which will take
do.
you
I'm
got-
gonna go get those cookies you made.
Okay, take some cookies. I guess we're waiting a few minutes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Dark, we have been requested to up our volume a little bit. I think I've done it enough.
I can't up my volume.
No? Well,
I
there,
physically can't.
Larian. There.
I mean, I could, but you'd hit the microphone boost of static.
Yeah.
We all know Grimmeth does copious amounts of editing afterwards, so
Yes.
Right,
well, I think it's
Michael.
technically Halldamir who's recording it.
Yeah.
I would say yes, editing for a live broadcast, I'm not going to upload.
I do
Mhm.
nothing to the...
You do sound quieter than usual, though, Dark.
Do I?
Yes.
That's odd.
Well, now you fixed it somewhat. I think you
I'm
moved
back.
closer to your microphone.
Yes, I was moving back and forth a little bit. This is what will be the average volume for the session.
I think that's okay. Given I did just turn up my sound, so maybe that's the solution.
Hopefully the others are not too loud now, though.
Don't think so.
Well, I don't
Okay,
know.
so-
I do have a booming voice.
You do have
And
a
Skype
booming voice.
And Skype just informed me apparently the call just ended after 7 minutes and 15 seconds.
Congrats.
I got a message saying
It
it's
did
ended.
just say that, but that's a lie.
It is a lie.
The lie
Yeah,
detector
listen.
test determined that
That we're literally all here, and that Skype
Yeah.
somehow, I don't know.
Maybe it's the ghost of Jonas past coming to haunt us again.
Jonas passed.
Past, future, and present will visit you in your dreams.
Right. Well, there's not much to tell about what happened last session, in part because group didn't accomplish a whole lot. The session picked up right after Gormy Peak, the legendary head of House Peak, the accomplished veteran warrior and a man who offered Bree cakes during a trial. He had just delivered his speech announcing that in a handful of moons, everyone was going to gather in Caladan territory and elect a new Lord of the Marshes, which would give whoever was voted into office powers similar to our Liege Lord, particularly if any wars were to come up. And our house decided that, well, the strategy would be for not House Peak to win. So Desson chatted with a bunch of lords before they left, because the tournament had ended and there was lots of people available. And he tried to rouse support for House Selmy being voted into office. Now, House Selmy is led by an individual who, rather capable, is untested, and he's also rather brash. Extensive amount of arrogance there, and just like the dreams of youth, where he thinks that he can accomplish so much with the position, which has unsettled some individuals. After that wonderful bit of dialogue, the players then planned, through Desson's connections, to track down the actual heir of House Caladan, Halldamir Caladan. He is an individual who has not been with the house for a decade. Before the campaign started, Halldamir Caladan was taken to be the ward of the award by House Peak after they attacked our home. Halldamir Caladan is an adult now. He is a knight. He primarily stays in Peak lands. Although Desson's connections noted that Halldamir Caladan travels between one of the castles, White Grove, and a cider hall, who is lorded over by the Fossaway. Shut up, phone. I'm busy doing a recap. Right. And Cider Hall is of noted interest. This was discovered before last session because the mistress of Lord Fossaway is an outsider, and she has been bringing in a lot of outsider elements from a certain salacious free city that really loves free ladies and thinking. And the player characters, after discussion and debate, decided that they wanted to go there, except for Bree, who's not even 12, and thought that the party scene would be a terrible place for her. And also, she wanted to keep an eye on affairs at home, because the lowborn have been disappearing. The lowborn, they're peasants. They fucking panic, as peasants do, and sorcery and like demons and whatever like peasants can think of to say that it's not their fault. They'll blame it on. And so Bree decided to stay here at the homestead and look into that affair, while all of the other folks decided to go visit the party. They went along with Sarah Cousin's mentor, Ashra Tyrell. Last session stopped after the party goers got into their accommodations. Considering how the party speaks primarily in Valerian, looking forward to seeing and listening to Lanny Caladan, the hopeful heir of House Caladan, speak to all these people and ferret out the mysteries. Will we see Halen Caladan? Will we kidnap Halen Caladan? What will happen back at home? Will we even have a home for the heroes to return to? Maybe we'll find out this session.
I like how you call us heroes.
Heroes, yes. Heroes.
More like people fumbling.
Heroes. Heroes. That is how the bards will sing it, or I will kill the bards. Heroes.
I mean, we did get rid of the vile snake villains, right?
That's true.
Then you married one.
She's not a villain.
She's a snake, though.
Depends on whose bards will sing the tale, I suppose.
Bree, I need you to stab someone.
Yes, it has indeed been a little bit of time, and I'll make this map available for you. And luckily, there's not too much on here, so it should be pretty quickly load. There we go.
So good.
For you are indeed in Cider Hall, a not too big sort of a keep, really, surrounded by lots of orchards and nice forested land that's open, clear, and beautiful. And you are in the keep at a party scene, sort of at the hall that has been made ready, with lots of foreigners. As you can see here, there are some Valerian looking mercenaries, presumably, though you have not really spoken to them much. They seem to be pretty much everywhere in general. Standing along the ways and such, it seems that whoever has invited, well, an open invitation to foreigners, doesn't trust those foreigners to not steal stuff and such. Who knows? They seem to only really speak Valerian. Who knows if they speak the common tongue of Westeros? You surely don't. There's a lot of people, mostly looking like scholarly types or sort of unsavory people who are just here for free food. And there certainly is food, though it's all foreign food. Lots of seafood, particularly. In sort of the raw fish and oyster department is a lot. Very salty stuff. Decim sadly ate a few of the oysters, and his stomach has not taken well to it. He is therefore rather unwell in the most unpleasant way, and will, for decency's sake, not really be frolicking too much around the party. He'll go and do things elsewhere because he's not feeling good.
If he were actually here, or if, we were being suspicious, we might suspect him of being poisoned, and then taking actions to investigate that.
Yeah, definitely.
I suppose you would.
Well, maybe someone poisoned the oysters. There certainly are lots of people around here who could seem to be that sort of person. Who would do that? Yeah, right now you have not been summoned by anyone, and the hall is sort of open. So is your rooms. Ashra is sort of looking after a few white-haired, purple-eyed ladies, and is giving Alaric sort of a "I will speak to you later" look. You've used to enough. He has a few looks, but this is the most used one.
That's the I'm gonna get laid. Fuck off. I'll
Yeah,
see
like
you later.
I'll be like a few hours. I'll find you, and then he's basically off, sort of moving up that sort of slightly fast walk that's just not awkward, but enough to catch up to people who are not trying to hurry. Sort of perfected it over the years, as he will go and speak to some of the ladies, or try to, because who knows if they speak anything but Valerian. Yes, it is a problematic, but maybe his charm can get through anyway. He's at least willing to take the chance, or the challenge, as it would be. Even Manfer is a bit captivated by the look of the servants here. Both girls and boys are very, very, very good looking. I mean, incredibly so. To the point where Lannis could blend in pretty well. Everything considered, generally his sort of features and attractiveness catches him a lot of looks. Here, well, I mean, Alaric gets looks still, but Lannis, not so many. Seems like he'll have an easier time blending in here than anywhere else, really.
We get
So
different
off.
looks. Alaric gets the look of what the fuck are you? Lanus gets the look of shit,
I'm
that guy's good looking.
intrigued. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels weird. I'm normally the person standing out of the crowd.
You're in now, boy.
A lot of people sort of look at Manfa, and if he was alone, he might be in trouble. Though, as long as Alaric sort of is close, they probably wouldn't dare doing anything. But he certainly seems to be out of place here.
No, Alaric will keep Manfer like within yard pace.
I also think I described these mercenaries last time, but to refresh your memory, they are wearing sort of some armor, selectively, mostly on their side where they hold their spear, because on the other side they have a large tower shield that they use. They also each have a javelin, sort of strapped to their upper back. That seems to be drawn, perhaps thrown before melee combat is to be engaged. They are, well, I don't think any of you have really traveled in Essos, so who knows?
So, from that description, it sounds like if we were to link this to the real universe that we are in at this moment, it sounds like they're, in a sense, Romans.
It could be. Valeria certainly has, I imagine, real world sort of antiquity, Roman, Greek connections. Although their armor and weapons are much higher developed than that, simply because they know steel is a thing.
And not just raw iron.
It has some of the same. It has some of the same connotations. Certainly, also some of the same sort of prettiness with the long cape and the sort of horse mane, horse hair thing on their helmets. Yeah.
Well, I think Elanus was taking the lead, seeing as he's the only one that can talk to most of these people.
Sure. You're mostly just approached by servants right now who sort of offer you, fish or shellfish on little plates. There's a table where you can go and get it. Very unorthodox. Generally, meals in Westeros are had like as a feast, where you sit down and have your place and you eat. Here, it's sort of more like an open thing, like you're sort of just supposed to sort of drizzle back and forth, eating a little bit all the time. As a foreign sort of idea.
Well, Nima will look at Lanus and Alaric and Men first. And, well, my lords, I'll go mingle, and she'll courtesy and walk over to a group that looks interesting.
Sure, there's lots of people wearing like robes and hoods, and some people just wearing like leather armor and that sort of thing. No one here looks like a knight, that's for certain.
Awesome.
She can probably catch a few people who sound like they have Bravosi accents.
Oh,
They speak.
fascinating. She'll go there.
I mean, the amount of people here is not huge. It's maybe 30 people.
Okay.
So it's sort of a, too many to really know anyone or be able to to keep track of everyone, but not so many that you can't remember people by looks if it came down to it.
Then having a look round, is there anyone in particular who stands out?
Well, it's a very, very diverse crowd. You could perhaps say that some people stand out by the fact that they don't. However, one man seems to stand out simply by the fact that sort of the people around him, he sort of stands alone, and then he sort of has a half circle of people standing there laughing at whatever it is he's saying.
Well, he's important then.
Most likely so, yes.
He sort of is a half-bald man in what's clearly like foreign jewelry and foreign garb of what seems to be white silk. He has a sort of a belt whereupon there's lots of vials and flasks and a ring that has a book strapped to it. A book ring. Beyond that, he seems to have a set of different sort of tools for fine work. I mean, none of you really have that sort of the trade of this sort of thing, so you don't really recognize what they would be for. Perhaps like extracting herbs or frog ears or whatever it might be.
You're saying we should have brought the maester?
It's this guy. Speaking
He looks like a swashbuckler.
speaking fine Valerian to a selection of people
Okay.
who seem to mostly be scholarly people.
Okay. Scholarly individuals.
Whatever way you want to go, Lanny. I can't speak to the majority of the people here, so use
We
me
should
as a
still
conversation starter. I'm okay with that.
Well, you're certainly drawing the looks. Though, don't you always?
Sadly, yeah. Yeah, just like Agro.
Look at that freak.
Look at this giant bastard.
And Manthus, stay close to Sir Eric.
He doesn't need to be told, though. He gives some of the younger servant ladies a sort of lingering looks.
I look around. Still got Sir Astra doing his thing as
He's
well.
gone.
Oh, he's off.
He's somewhere.
He's disappeared
Gone.
Okay, yep.
into
Gone.
who knows what room. Maybe he's in the kitchen. Generally considered that he can take care of himself.
I suppose then. Let's go and just maybe listen in a bit over towards the man of his half circle people.
Sure.
Just get an idea what's going
You
on.
speak New Valerian, yes?
Roughly, but yes, I can.
All right. Well, as you listen into their conversation, could you make me a language check for that? To see how much of the context you can gather up from just sort of passing.
Here's the problem of only knowing the language roughly. Ooh, this is gonna hurt.
You don't really speak it fluently.
It's not fluent, it's for sure. You know?
Well, you understand the words. I mean, you understand very little of what's going on here. Yeah, but certainly the words like fire and dragon is heard.
Certainly recognize those.
Power, flame, seer, dead. The people here seem to be very interested in what he has to tell them. And he speaks sort of very slowly, as clearly he's sort of telling people who are not his betters, to say the least.
Okay.
Some of them look like they're Westerosi, though. Like, they don't look foreign by By their looks, maybe they came here to speak to him.
Okay.
They scribble down things in their notebooks.
Are there many of these halls in?
No, there seemed to be one primary like speaking hall where you go around speaking. Then you have a room. Sometimes though, like servants or guards go to someone and they're sort of led off into presumably a side room before they come back with sort of an enlightened look on their faces. Who knows what goes on in there?
I suppose it's a talk to whoever until perhaps we even get picked up.
Any particular kind of
yeah.
people you want to approach, or?
Are there?
And-
I mean, are there any Westerosi nobles, even minor lords that like only have a? Or
You
landed
don't
land?
recognize any of the symbols, at least. No one wears like a noble surcoat or such. There's of course the symbol of House Fossaway, the great sort of gold gilded apple around.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think starting off with those who look more Westerosi than Valerian might be the better way to start it. So that we can presumably fluently talk to.
And we're looking for. We need to keep an eye out. So probably like while Lanus is talking, Alaric's scanning over the heads of people.
What's she looking for?
Halen.
All right. Could you do a memory roll?
Memory. Christ.
Memory cunning.
Do you remember what Halen sort of looked like all those years ago?
Cunning. Did you say, Dark?
Yes, memory cunning.
Or cunning memory?
Not bad.
All right. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, Lannis is just going to try and kind of slip into conversation, small talk mostly. Try and get an idea of how people feel here, what the kind of general thing is, the kinds of people that are here.
Well, certainly seem to be a lot of foreigners around. Just sort of slipping into conversations. What sort of opening does he have? Just walk up and say hello. How does he approach it?
It partially depends on the kind of people I suppose I'm approaching. How do they
What kind of
look?
people are you approaching?
Well, let's try and actually work this out exactly what's here there properly for it.
Scholars and their
Probably not
unsavory looking types.
probably not the scholars. Reminds Lannis a bit too much of Desmond.
And there seem to be just sort of travelers in general, foreigners who might have come here just for samey people.
Yeah, we can approach some of the travelers.
Sure. We could go and talk to a few. They seem to be discussing from what you can gather with your knowledge of the language. They seem to be discussing some news from Mir. Put your head in.
Any of the groups in particular, all of them are speaking Valerian, are they, or is there any that are?
Yeah, pretty much all of them, as that seem to be sort of the common language of the area that they use. However, these two don't really like. One of them don't seem particularly well versed at it. Though you don't really know what sort of accent he has. He has a bit darker skin than the others, and certainly very black hair compared to the other one, who has the white and light features of the Free Cities.
Okay.
Well, are you done, Dark?
If you've got something you want to say.
Okay. Nima will try and look for people that know who's worth knowing at this party. Obviously, she's gonna go for Caladan and Peak of people who know of those. And she will definitely go with Charm and Seduce.
Do you want to just
And
do a general gathering of knowledge, or do you want to approach someone and ask them?
she's gonna go with some Bravosi and go with
Sure.
charm and go, oh my, I didn't know that.
As
Oh, and here I thought I would be the
what
only
seemed to be
Bravosi.
a Bravosi sort of what seems to be a Bravosi peddler of some sort. He has a what seems to be a pretty heavy sort of pouch with him that he's keeping very well a hand on at all times.
That is suspicious.
And he sort of has a leather armor. He's a little bit hunched back and has sort of a bald spot as he speaks, Bravosi. Neiman would think he looks like the kind of person that the Iron Bank would send to do like their petty work. He doesn't seem to be someone who is he's not like well cleaned or anything, but he certainly seems to be that sort of notorious banker, businessman with a cold, icy heart who will pry money from the poor as much as he can.
Cool. Well, Nima will approach and say, and here I thought I was the only Bravosi. You look like you're from the bank. She'll say all this in the Bravosi. So who in here is in debt to the great bank of Bravosi?
He will look over to the men and say, "Ah, another from our home then." Yes, he looks around and says, "Not many here understand the language we speak. They are mostly slavers, I think. I am here sent, indeed, by the bank. Perhaps you would know more of the area than I. I came here to hopefully find someone who would know where to find certain people."
Nemo shrugs. I know some people, but who are you looking for?
There's someone who has borrowed a lot of, he sort of looks, dragons, slightly confused as to the currency.
Nemo, yeah, it's their way. It's one of their coins. For some reason, they like to call them dragons.
The Lions of the Rock has loaned out quite a hefty bit of sums. I am here to make sure that it gets paid.
So there are lions here.
Ixran says, no, they have us to do their business for them. You see, the bank has purchased the debts from the Lions so that we may claim it and the interest that might befall it. Some of it, however, has proven rather difficult to track down.
I will lend you my assistant if I can help you.
Ron says, well, it depends on who you are.
My name is Nima Brian.
And what do you do in this cursed land?
Train soldiers in the way of the water dance, except, as usual, no talent.
Sort of suspiciously narrowing his eyes, clearly trying to see if you're trying to fool him or something. He says, and why are you here, specifically?
Protecting my lord. Since, Bravo Few water dancers are the best.
You're working for Lord Fussaway?
How would you have guessed that?
Shrugs and says, there certainly are a lot of mercenaries from foreign lands. He sort of looks at you and says, suppose I shouldn't be surprised that one of your kind would work for a slave driver, but perhaps you're just the kind of person I need.
Perhaps.
If you could help me find a few people, that would be good then. Or if you would tell me about them.
If I know anything about these people, I'll definitely help you.
Yes, what sort of price would you ask for your aid?
How about
Not given much by the bank to work with.
how about information for information?
Shrugs says, I will tell you whatever I can, as long as you answer my questions.
Of course.
Sure. Well, he sort of says, shall we find a room? She looks around. Who knows who might be listening?
Indeed. Nima will lead the way.
Sure. he'll go and basically ask one of the guards in very broken Valerian for a room. Guard just says something that sounds sort of scornful, but who knows what he said, right?
Yeah.
And show you to basically a little room. It seems to have been once perhaps a washing room, but there's no bath in here, and there's been a set of torch on the wall, and then there are a few chairs and a table. Seems to be just here for business. The door is closed behind you, and it sounds like the guard is standing outside. He will basically take out sort of a list of noble houses and begin asking where they would be in the local area.
What noble houses is he asking for?
Well, there certainly is Ashford.
Ooh, Dima will gleefully foretell where he can find those.
And there is Trent.
Of course, gleefully.
And there is Caladan.
Oh my. What Caladan are they looking for? I heard the I heard the heir is somewhere else.
As I do not know, I'm simply supposed to bring the message that the Iron Bank would like to have the debt paid.
Right.
More will follow after me. So looks and says, I blundered once, and now I have to do this, travel everywhere and talk to people who do not care to be found.
Well,
Hiding, I imagine.
Nima will give a very good description of the Ashford and the Trent and their names.
So where they can be found.
And she will say, tell the name of Lena's older brother.
Well, where is the keep of the Caladans?
Well,
I need to visit it to deliver the message.
Well, I heard they're at the heirs at the Peaklands.
Yeah, I'm not looking for peaks. I'm looking for the Caladans.
Yeah, but that's where the Caladan is. I actually heard he's supposed to be here.
They are here?
The Caladanair, yeah. Nima will say, tell him the name of this.
A Lord Aaron, yes. She looks at his papers. Well, I shall certainly look around then. If you could point him out to me here, that would be great. If not, then still he's...
Aaron, that's Lena's father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. What? Can you get me the name again of your...
Helen Caladan.
Huh? What did you say?
The name of my brother is Helen Caladan.
Halen. And you say, well, for what I've heard, that Aaron is not the guy you should be looking for. He's just some old fool. It's his heir who's doing all the work. He's called Halen Caladan. I unfortunately don't know what he looks like, but I heard he should be at this party.
I shall look for him then. If not, I shall certainly ask. The heir Halen Caladan.
I heard he hangs around, he's friends with the Peaks.
Very well, I shall perhaps ask them where to find him. I don't know if you've simply told me, well, nothing at all, but what is it that you would have known? I'll answer if I can.
Well, I guess this is more of a favor, but don't worry, it won't be much of a problem for you. I happen to be looking for this Caladan heir as well. He owes me some.
As well, then I believe you have a better chance of finding him than I do.
Well, I just would like to know that if you happen to find him before me.
I'll tell him that more people seem to be on the debt of the house.
Is there a way I can persuade you to somehow give me a message if you find him and tell me what he looks like? It's hard enough as it is, as you know yourself.
He nods. I simply need to find someone from House Caladan. Whether it's the heir or not, it doesn't matter. As long as I've delivered the message that one of their house owes money, then so be it. The only one I have the name of is the lord of the house. Anyone else is not really known to us. Or to
Well,
me, at least. He seems very dissatisfied with his job.
Oh, understandable. All I know is that I know that Halen Caladan is here. I don't know if there's any other Caladans.
As well, if you see them, don't warn them. If they run away somewhere, then I won't be able to find them and deliver the message.
Of course. Why would I do that to a fellow Bravosi?
Nods.
Do we have a deal that if you find this Halen Caladan, you can...
Well, what would be in that for me?
I just gave you all the information of the Ashford and the Trent and Caladan.
Perhaps you did. Perhaps you simply told me whatever you thought I wanted to hear.
Why would I do that?
I do not know. Perhaps so that I would do a favor for you.
Well, as you said, I'm probably better at finding this Caladan on my own.
Just then you wouldn't want my help?
I would. Having more eyes is much better.
Why don't you try to roll the persuasion convince?
I do not have convince.
All right.
You can still try.
Yeah.
So just be persuasion then.
Uh-huh.
So try to convince him to do this for you.
I am gonna use a destiny point. Turn it to a bonus die. Is that what it's called?
You can gain a bonus die from spending a destiny point, yes.
That's what I'm gonna do. Ding. Aw.
All right, that is just enough.
Awesome.
He'll sort of look at you and sort of stand up and say, well, this information better be good. As he sort of gives you a nod. And says, don't let the slavers get too much to your head.
Of course, I'm out of here as soon as the job is done.
As I will stay here for a day more. Perhaps if you say that these Caladans have shown up, I can shorten my trip quite a bit.
Indeed. But as... Well, I know if you find a peak, you're probably gonna find a pet Caladan. I heard they're friends.
He gives you a nod. He says, enjoy the party.
As you.
And take care.
Well, I thought this was a place as where they didn't have slaves. I didn't know they had a lice woman as a mistress.
I thought you worked here.
I did, before the man turned crazy.
I see. Sort of nods, understanding that you haven't told him everything, but most people here don't like when you ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Somehow I always end up working for Fussaway. Well, Nemo will nod and thank him.
Sure.
And, well, he knows Nemo's name, first and last name, and
Look for
appearance.
Caladans. Any of you wearing any sigils or surcoats with your big emblem on there?
Lara's probably in his armor, so doubtful. Because that doesn't...
Doesn't wear like a Caladan tabard over it?
Not normally.
Right.
Um,
He didn't bring his shield.
Yeah, but I'm presume though he got that back in his tawny days. So
Sure.
I can't imagine it would have the.
What kind of knight of the house are you to have all this like full equipment and not display any like emblems of the house?
I mean,
on it? You're
don't- I
terrible.
mean,
Got his own
don't-
as well, but
you have your own knight's heraldry, you'd be on it, wouldn't it?
possibly, yeah.
Which generally is the houses with like a minor modification.
Yeah,
do
it's a
that.
modified
Yeah.
the house's one.
What modification does he have?
It's a white chevron facing down on it. I actually have it somewhere.
Yes, we actually made both versions.
Yeah, we made
Sure.
both versions.
Drop it somewhere if you find it. Sure. Manfred walks around with his nightingales.
In fact, actually, I have it right here. So we have the normal Caladan shield and then the knight's shield.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, they're different, slightly.
I would imagine Lannis would have some.
Um, that is what I'm considering right now because I mean, Lanus would have been blending in. So would he really want to be showing too much of his heroes?
That's a
Is that
fair
like-
question. Like,
I would like-
Oh, yeah, that is. If
I
we
would
are
probably add also that we came here to find your brother. Flashing our sigil here would have been pretty stupid. Because
That's
then your brother would have been on alarm. It's like, oh no.
That- I
That's
think the only
just
thing that would be identifying on me would be the fact that I technically have the sword. But you know, unless
That's
you're
not something anyone who hasn't seen the Sword of Halldamir would be able to recognize.
yes, that's correct.
you also don't walk around with that unsheathed a whole lot, I imagine.
No, it would be
So-
sheathed.
So did Alaric leave his shield in the room?
probably then, yeah. If told
Yeah.
to blend in, it's likely.
Elena's, I imagine, did the same then. He has a shield, doesn't he? I think he's...
Yes, he does have it, though he wouldn't. He's not even dressed in armor here. He's dressed, he's
Yeah.
just fine. He's just in, fine in noble finery.
Most people aren't dressed in armor, as the many soldiers or mercenaries or whatever they are sort of seem to be vigilantly standing there being menacing.
As their job's supposed to be.
Yeah. Supposedly.
Yeah,
Right, let's put those up here.
Yeah, I thought I'd put those down then. Makes it easy for this.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or Alaric might have even gone as far as to just put like a bit of cloth over his shield.
Really?
Just simply cover it. It's
Did you
an
really
easy way
bring
of
a
doing it.
shield
I
here?
don't-
It would be such a bother.
Like, walking up and down these narrow staircases is bad enough a full blade, and he's got like a tower shield, like, oh, excuse me.
Well, he's
Go
already
go
used
through
to
here,
The-
oh.
Yeah, but
It's inconvenient.
it's extremely inconvenient, and you would probably hit a lot of people, and they would be getting very cross with you.
Let's be
This
totally
is a
honest.
gathering.
Certainly sends a message. And
That
make
it
sure
does.
that you
Well,
whatever,
chill
really.
dark through your character. If he has a problem with that, give him an order.
Yeah.
Tell him to take that shit off.
Yeah,
Because Alaric's
that
definitely got the idea that we might as well just be in lease. I'm not trusting any of these bastards. So he'd have to really be commanded. And he has always taken commands.
Menfa carries his stuff because he would have to be commanded. You know,
We can't really command him.
I mean, you can.
generally he
I
would,
could've,
as your squire, carry your shield, but it's a little too big for him. Really, it's like a door,
Yeah,
and
it's
he can't like, easily haul that around.
Yes, if I saw you were trying to take the shield down, Max would look to you and, what are you doing? Gesturing.
It's a flashback.
If
Flashback, yeah.
we're, yes, flashback. We're going to a party, and I'm sure you don't trust everything, but your full plate's gonna be more than enough.
Shrugs. Says, I suppose.
And
Looks
in
a
all
bit
honesty, we
long.
want to draw the least attention we can.
Kind of looks perplexed at that. Like, kind of looks himself up and down. Gives a kind of a quizzical look.
I know you draw a lot of attention.
Nima will butt in and say, "Well, you can't get even more attention with a huge shield with the size of a door."
Shrugs. Sometimes attention isn't that bad. Certainly bring this. He taps his Tyrell shield, puts it on its back. He's also wearing his tabard over his armor with the. So he's also wearing not heavy armor because he doesn't want to be bucked down by that, and he likes to have armor he can remove quickly.
Lane is and Nima's just like,
But his symbol is everywhere.
I mean, I expect that, actually.
Not surprising.
Lark will shrug and put it to one side then. In the room, I presume that we're still in.
Sure. Desmond is laying on the bed, frowning heavily as Kala is looking out the window.
Nima looks to Sir Alaric. if we're gonna find the heir, we shouldn't flash our or your sigil everywhere. He would just be alarmed. And nothing's gonna happen to your shield while you leave it here.
Desmond can take care of it.
He smiles at that.
Now we have pleasantries to deal with. Come on.
Soon back. Alaric sort of probably like twitching his fingers where his shield would normally be. He looks at all the guards. Considers how many he could take.
That
That's
you know,
always.
Tony, I love that shield. Like the hand, like the arm is just like so used to carrying the weight. Like with I've worn glasses for so long that I like at times when I'm not wearing them, I push them up the bridge of my nose and then realize they're not actually there. So like Alaric is like trying to like adjust his shield at one point, like, oh yeah, excuse me, and he's like moving it for someone, realize he doesn't actually have it. And like looks down like,
Actually, I just did the exact thing you said, Grim, except because I'm not wearing my necklace right now. So I was like, oh wait.
You're also prompted by all the guards wearing tower shields, standing there being
he's like
fancy.
constantly reminded of it. Like, let me remind of how much of a bad is I can still take him.
Their tower shields are sigilless. They're sort of plated with steel, slightly rounded, and then there's sort of a big knob on there. They don't really have sigils on them. No fuss-away sigils either, certainly. You don't really see any guards that have fuss-away sigils, actually.
Okay. Okay. Well, most certainly, I've given a bit of thought for who Lance would go to approach, and really, well, you said there were people who there were some individuals at least who looked like they were kind of struggling with who clearly they weren't from they weren't so much from Essos, and they kind of were struggling a bit with with their own Valyrian. Let's try approaching some of them. See what's going to trying to just mingle in a bit and yeah.
You just sort of hang around, not really participate too much in anything.
Yeah, the main thing he's trying to get a good idea of essentially like who's here, what is the rumors going around. Essentially trying to hear names and mostly just trying to hear names and hear whatever.
Sure. News that people seem to be talking about enough that you can gather up the context about it. Well, there certainly seems to be one big piece of news people speak of, and that is that the Lords of Myr, the merchant council there, have signed a truce with Lys and Tyrosh for the first time in, well, nobody really knows. Usually these three cities fight all the time over a huge piece of land greater than any of their own territories, called the Disputed Lands for that very reason. It seems, however, that two of them have allied together and sort of pushed the third one out of the region and forced them by use of privateers simply to sign a truce that would allow them to again trade, but have them sort of be in a peaceful situation for a while, at least.
Sure.
It also seems that some of this have been done by the aid of a Westerosi lord.
Oh.
Who are seen by these people, at least, to be sort of one of their own, more so than a Westerosi. A Lord Blackfire has been over there and has done quite the deeds and has gathered quite the host of loyal knights from Westeros that have come over there to aid him. And he has worked in the Disputed Lands. He is married to the daughter of the Tyroshi sort of ruler. And well, seemingly things have gone well over there, and he's earned quite a lot of renown in the Free Cities for it. People are flocking to his banner, and some say that he is the dragon come again. Dragons usually leave a lot of molten gold behind when they're done.